Hello and welcome back. We're here in legacy.mage.space, which is about to disappear. And these are images and prompts that I have developed. I think it was mostly in 2023. What makes it so powerful, or what made the old one so powerful, was I can go back and say, oh, that's a really good image. What was the prompt? And what was my settings? And I could actually, using the seed, exactly create this again. So yeah, I develop these techniques, this style of artwork, which I really like. Some really nice pictures came out of this. It's a shame. It's a time. It's gone. They've shot themselves in the foot, and I don't know. These companies often have an exit strategy, don't they? You never know when, what's behind all this stuff. So anyway, end of story. It's gone now. It's all gone. This is now gone. These are all useless because mage.space screwed it up. And I have to find an alternative way, and they might not be as good. So let's just talk very briefly about the AI image landscape. There are some big corporations making images, because you've obviously got OpenAI with ChatGPT and DALL-E. You've got Microsoft involved with them. You've got people like Adobe coming along with I forget what they call it. Is it Fire? Not Firefly, Fire Spark. I don't know what it's called, but it's rubbish. And then you've got they're very much the evil empire, whereas Stable Diffusion, the open source one, is very much the Rebel Alliance. And it's becoming more and more so, and it's become more so in recent months. They are, with the release of Stable Diffusion 3, unbelievably, you're not allowed to use them for commercial purposes, which means for me, they're also useless because I don't know what the deemed commercials per purposes is, but if I'm using them to advertise my game, then I guess that could be seen as a commercial purpose. The community is very heavily behind Stable Diffusion, and therefore Stable Diffusion is, in my opinion, way ahead of the others. If you go to DALL-E, you can click a button, perhaps move a slider or two, but you don't have very much control over it, and it is very, very, very restricted. So if I wanted to create a horror game with burning skulls or death and things, I wouldn't be able to do that because they have restrictions built in. The not safe for work restrictions, and it goes way beyond that. They are very much in control of what you produce. And when it comes to art, like comedy, you should be able to make jokes about absolutely anything in the world, and you should be able to make art about absolutely anything in the world, which makes them pretty much useless, and it makes the Stable Diffusion very much more the Rebel Alliance. If you get, I went down the Stable Diffusion route. Obviously, I could pay and go with the other ones, but the restrictions are too. I don't want any restrictions whatsoever. I just don't want any restrictions whatsoever. And yeah, potentially I could produce things, pornography or whatever. I can understand if you're going to breach other people's intellectual property. If I'm doing a picture of Donald Trump or I'm doing a Coca-Cola or some Nike shoes, yeah, obviously they're other people's brands, and you've definitely got copyright issues if you try and recreate them in any form, and everybody knows that. So what did I do? I'm just showing you pictures as I go along because it's such a shame that all these are going to be lost in a couple of days. Spent so much time developing these prompts. Never mind. It is what it is. We have to move on. There was an emphasis because I want to transfer some of these prompts and some of the stuff over into a new workflow. I've only got a couple of weeks to do it. Do you know what I mean? By the end of August, this lot will be gone. It will all be gone. It's a shame, but we've got to move on. So, what am I doing instead? Well, I don't want you to be put off by it in any way, because this is how simple things are getting. What I call node code. Everything these days is coded with these little boxes and noodles joining them together. So this is what I mean by these nodes. And don't be worried about this. If you want to make a shader in Unity, you use nodes like this. If you want to make a shader in Blender, you use nodes like this. If you want to write programs in modern game engines, you can use a code like this, where these are just functions and you're just joining them up. Now these boxes you can understand, you can go into great detail of exactly what these boxes are doing, but you don't need to. This is the model I'm using, and I've loaded some models into the folder. This is just literally a browser, by the way. This is your comfy UI, and it's a user interface for creating images. So this is a model that I downloaded, an LLM that downloaded onto my machine, and it is roughly 6 gigabytes, trained on squillions of images. This is where you put your model in. This is where you put your prompt in. That's my positive prompt. This is my negative prompt, and you tend to put "not safe for work" in there just to stop them, because they do like to get their tits out. The model seems to have learned that that's what people want. Seed, which is randomized. The number of steps, that's how much effort it's going to put in to make it. Do you know what I mean? If you have a high number, it takes longer, but it looks more realistic. You have a low number, it just looks like a blob. How much it sticks to your prompt, and how much leeway it's got to be artistic itself. This is a sampler. There's like loads of them. I like that one. You can try them all. I've been through them all many times. This is a V8. We can find out about these. What I shall do is I'll find a YouTube channel.
To follow my workshop, you can download my workflow on OpenArt. You see here there's a download button, and above that you have a green
So you can do it online here, but the download is
button that says Launch Workflow, where you can
they're just
actually
JSON
run my
files. Just drag
workflow
and
in the
drop them
cloud
in.
for free. When you click on that button, it takes a little while, and
But you
then
see
it's
that
open.
blue thing there? You can literally drag that into there, and it works. So these workflows is absolutely amazing. This workflow. He's sharing all his workflows of what, obviously,
up
which
this
I've
window, as you can
kind of
see here.
copied and built my own variation of his workflows. But yeah, you can definitely download his workflows there, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's yeah, thank you, Olivia, for producing that. It helped me out. I wanted a specific workflow. I want a big image for my website or thumbnail or whatever, but I don't want to spend time making a big image if it's not a very good image to start with. What I can do with this, and then at this point, I do a preview image. It's not very big, but that means it's quick. So it creates this quick preview image, and I think, ooh, that looks good. I'll let that carry on. That goes through all this upscaly type stuff, through this Ultimate SD upscaler, and creates an upscaled image. Okay, sorry about that. OBS and Comfy UI just don't play well together. For some reason, it seems to run out of memory. So I'm going to create the prompt, view the prompt now just to show you what it's doing. So there's the case sampler going. It's created that image. I don't like how our hand looks, so I can then cancel that image. The images are kind of where I want to be. I don't want I want this to be look like handmade. I don't want it to look really manufactured. These are like a kind of like a primitive people, if you like, and this is the kind of art style I'm going for as well. This sort of the characters on my players, they look kind of realistic. Not as good as this, but I hope to get closer. It's not that far away, really. I know it really isn't that far away, in my opinion. With some better skin shader, hair. It's not that far away. something resembling my artwork, if you like. So that's in mage.space. I could look back in history at the prompt and see how I got there. You know, get back when I change this prompt and change all these things. I want to be able to get back to this where I was at some point, like I could with these. I could go this guy and say, "How did I get to this guy?" Oh, Renaissance ship. That's how I got that kind of ship. Do you know what I mean? I had to go back. This was in September, but almost a year ago. So, and the models and all that lot. And if I wanted to upscale this, make it big, I can get the seed and all the parameters and generate exact copies of that seal. So that's why this site was so popular, and this is why it was so important to me. I could get back to a piece of artwork and increase it. And I messed about with all sorts of stuff that was to get some artwork to go on the pillars in when I get round to it, the gates in the game. I was about to create textures as well. So this kind of workflow is really important for me. It's part of my workflow, and it's such a swat that they shot themselves in the foot. It's ridiculous. They don't have wolves in Egypt, so having a wolf thing would be fun. Anyway, so I needed to be able to sort of got a look back in my images, and I came across something on GitHub called Breadboard, which does exactly that. You choose, it's just a browser again. You choose the folder where your images are. And then you get your images, and I can look at one I've created, like this guy with his pet leopard, and I'm getting automatically, I'm not having to write all this stuff in, I'm getting all the information from this is the prompt in here. It's not ideal, but if you it is there. That's how the upscaler. That's what we're looking for. There we go. Muscular barbarian, sword fighting a leopard, full body shot, master suit, cinematic lighting, armor. There's the prompt. I've got all the other information in there, and so I can get back to that image, and that image is automatically created by Stable Diffusion. That metadata is automatically created by Stable Diffusion. And I thought, oh, wow, I can go back and plug in all the images I created on mage.space into this and get the information from them as well. But no, you can't, because mage.space, either on purpose or by accident, replaces all the metadata with question marks, or you can't. And it's part of their product is selling access to their online service, so they don't want you to have access to that service offline, otherwise you wouldn't have to pay them. And that is the crux of all this, is they're all building on top of Stable Diffusion front ends in order to get that monthly subscription. Whereas this way, running locally on my PC, I've got the stability of being able to create my images even without an internet connection, and I've also got the consistency. I've always got access to my images. There's no paywall between me and my bloody images. So that I know it's a very long video, but I don't know. Somebody might find it interesting. Other game devs might see my game dev video and need artwork for themselves. People just might be interested in this stuff. Like I say, I believe my audience to be clever, techie people, perhaps. That's how I imagine them. Yeah, it might be of some use. As far as making money from AI, obviously I've got my game where I'm using AI to market my game in a positive light before I've got the game made. And that's one way of doing it. But I've heard people, well, one, on Udio, I'm seeing more and more that the creators of tracks are music companies, not individuals. It'll be So-and-so Music Production Limited, and their companies producing Udio music. a lot of sort of animators and stuff are using AI in their workflows to speed up things, take out backgrounds and blah blah blah. So everything will have AI in it, and everyone will be using AI to make stuff. So why not have a look early? Why not get into it early? Apparently on Etsy, 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 there's people who are making in Britain familiar location. They'll do like a picture of the Tyne Bridge and say up the Toons or whatever they say in Newcastle, Toon Army or whatever, and a picture of a bridge in the Tyne Bridge in Newcastle, which is an iconic Newcastle landmark, and then sell that on Etsy, and then people who live in Newcastle will pay a few quid to buy that and have a picture on the wall in their house. So there's opportunities for this sort of technology if you think creatively. So there we have it. I've only just started getting going with this. My workflow is usable now. I can, if I need more thumbnails, I can definitely make some more thumbnails. They might not be as good as they were before, but they're good enough to get a message across. The fur was getting back to where I wanted to be, and the armor. So yeah, we're getting there. It's been a traumatic upset, but I've come out of the other end with more. I have to pay for my metadata anymore. I've got my own metadata there, and it was being withheld from me before. So I'm in a better position, slightly less better with the graphics, but I'll get there with the graphics. I'll get back to where I was. It's not that far off at the end of the day. Right, anyway, I shall catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.